Alright, so for my final project, I wanted to kind of toy around with how optical illusions could be created using Sketchpad. Going into this project, I really had no idea how it would work or if it would work, so I had to do a lot of toying around, a lot of working with the skills that we kind of discovered in class together or individually, and I mainly wanted to focus on how optical illusions are created using polar equations, just because I don't have a lot of experience with polar equations, and I was kind of curious how I could get that to work, or if I could get that to work. Before I jumped into the polar equations, though, what I started with was just creating super easy, super well-known optical illusions. One of them that I'm sure that you've seen before is this concept of straight lines with the gray or black boxes that are not lined up, so it visually makes it look like one end is larger and one end is smaller. A lot of people have seen this before. It's pretty, like I said, it's pretty well known. But I just kind of started out with the basics, seeing if the basics would work, because if the basics didn't work, I would have a problem. So there's that, and then there's another one that I came up with, super simple again, is the a box. If you stare at one of these white sections, such as this one right there, you're going to see black or gray dots appear in the other ones because your eye is catching the color, but it's not determining where exactly that color is. And sorry that these boxes are only dark gray. Their color is black, but for some reason it's more of a dark gray than a black, which is kind of upsetting because it works a lot better with black. But I digress. Yeah, so that's a pretty well-known optical illusion as well. But I went ahead and toyed with it a little bit, see what I could get it to do, and I wanted to look more 3D. I didn't want to sit with basic 2D ones. So what I did is I found a way that when you drag this, kind of pull it down, it looks like it falls back, like these boxes are falling backwards. And then again, if you bring it up, it comes back up to the upright position. And I thought that was super cool, just because it kind of gives you that 3D illusion when it's obviously only on a 2D computer screen. And I had a lot of fun with that. It took me a couple tries, but I got it. And I mean, you can kind of tell it's just by keeping some points the same and moving others, kind of thing. Used a couple sliders and stuff like that. And then I jumped into the polar equations, and I had a lot of trouble with it at the beginning, just because I was trying to get an optical illusion that's, once again, pretty well known. The kind of like the hypnotizing one with the circle, and I'll put an example in here for you guys. You can see that, and normally that would spin, and you would be able to watch that spin for a couple minutes, and then you take your eyes away, and it would look like the wall was moving, or a picture of water was moving. But I couldn't really get that to work. I tried working a lot with arcs, creating different arcs along a circle, different size circles with different arcs. I tried using regular polar equations, but I couldn't get them to rotate. And I tried a bunch of different stuff, but I couldn't get it to work. So I decided to stick with just creating polar equations based off of one variable. And I made a slider out of that variable, and you'll be able to see the red dot go across the top. That's if you want to stop at any point or go back and see a certain spot, because they're really interesting equations to watch. But I'm going to go ahead and show you this for about a minute and a half, just long enough to get your eyes situated, and then I'm going to show you a picture, and what you should be able to see is the picture moving, even though it's not moving. So if you wanted to see the equations, those are all the equations that I used. I tried a couple other ones, but they didn't really work as well. These are the ones that I found worked the best together. So I'm going to let you guys watch this for a little bit, and I'll play some music, and let's go. this and click real quickly over to this picture. And if you kept your eyes focused at the very center of the previous slide and tried not to blink too much and stayed focused, what you should be able to see is the water kind of doing a weird sideways movement sort of thing. And that's because your brain hasn't registered that what it's looking at isn't moving anymore. And that's kind of why you get that optical illusion. The reason I wanted to show that one instead of the arc one that I created was because the arc one just didn't really work as well, and that was because I was having trouble getting it to rotate smoothly. Whereas this one, it did the same concept of triggering your brain in different ways, kind of tricking it, but it did a little bit better. So yeah, that was what I did. Like I said, it took me a while to figure out how to use them, how to use the equations in a good way, but eventually I got there. I learned a lot about polar equations just because I haven't worked with them too much before, and it was really nice to have an opportunity to kind of dive into those without forcibly diving into them. So yeah, that was my presentation. Thank you for watching, and have a great summer. Yeah.